Now this has got to be the most important video I ever made, because in this video I'm gonna share my whole journey of going from low test to extremely high test. I'm gonna tell you about all the things I tried, even the things that failed at increasing my testosterone levels. Because it's 3 years ago that I started trying to increase my testosterone. And the first thing I ever tried was going to the gym. At first I didn't go to the gym to increase my testosterone. I simply went to the gym because I wanted to be jacked. But then when you start having the goal of, being more muscular, testosterone comes at play. Because yes, going to the gym is the thing that's gonna make you muscular, but testosterone is the thing that's gonna amplify your gains. And quickly I realized that the feeling I was getting, after a hard gym session where you feel fulfilled and motivated, was the same feeling I was getting when I was experiencing high testosterone. So I basically went on this journey of wanting to be more jacked and also wanted to feel extremely high energy, that high testosterone feeling. So of course, the most logical thing I could do was increasing my testosterone levels, because then I would get both of these. Now, without knowing much about science or even anything about testosterone, the first thing I did, which I believe is the thing that increased my testosterone the most, even though it's not science-backed at all, is a dopamine detox. Now for me, a dopamine detox was basically just getting on self-improvement. You lock in, you start grinding. I would start the good habits, meditation, cold showers, journaling, stuff like that, but I would also stop the bad habits. I stopped scrolling, stopped watching so many YouTube videos like you're doing right now, and I also completely stopped video games. And this, alongside going to the gym, are the two things that completely changed my life. And it's certainly with those two things that I increased my testosterone by the most. But still, it wasn't enough. I wanted more, and you always want more. I'm still striving to increase my testosterone even further. You just max out all your stats. So the next step I started doing is caring more about my sleep. But since sleep is extremely boring, I'm just gonna skip over it and go straight to diet. Diet is the next thing I tried to improve. And in my quest of improving my diet, I always knew, like, when you eat Doritos or cookies, stuff like that, it's not good for you, but you still do it because you don't know how bad it is. That's at least how I felt. But then when I realized the effects of seed oils and sugar on my testosterone levels and simply on my overall health and physique, I completely stopped them. Now sugar, it took me a bit more time because I was completely addicted to it, but seed oils is something I wasn't addicted to, and I completely removed it from my life. The only thing with seed oils is that it's basically everywhere. So if you stop seed oils, you're basically saying no to any sort of junk food. And then as I learned more about diet, I started removing things that are, there's no seed oils in it, there's no sugars. Like my pre-workout, it had some glitters inside of it. And if you don't know, food glitters is extremely estrogenic. And I'm gonna talk about estrogenic later in this video, but it's things like this that I removed from my diet and started aiming more for a whole food diet. I even tried reducing carbs to a very minimal, and I tried even stopping vegetables because people were telling me, there was a lot of phytoestrogen, and there are, but that was gonna increase my test if I completely cut out vegetables. And for me, I found out that reducing carbs didn't work, and cutting out vegetables certainly didn't work, because I worked very well on eating a lot of vegetables. Also, I tried fasting, intermittent fasting, even went for a full day fast and stuff like that. And honestly, it changed some stuff, but I think that's more cognitive benefits, no testosterone increase whatsoever. Then I started really looking into supplements. Now, first off, I looked at the basics. You get your magnesium, vitamin D, boron, zinc. I started getting those, but then I moved on to herbs. I was listening to plenty of videos that were talking about these herbs that could potentially double your testosterone levels. I mean, if you know Andrew Huberman, he talks a lot about Tonkat Ali. Well, I basically tried all of them. Tonkat Ali, fenugreek, tribulus, ashwagandha, Fedogia agrestis. I tried all of these herbs, and basically, for me, there's only one or two that worked. The one that worked the best was Tonkat Ali. That one certainly worked, and I felt almost, after a week of taking it, a difference in how I was feeling. And the other one is Fedogia agrestis. But I got scared of it because I thought it was toxic, so I stopped it, and I've never touched it since. But if I was to make better research on it and, be less scared of it, I think Fedoja agrestis actually changed something in how I felt and increased my testosterone levels. But I got scared and I dropped it. So, right now I'm taking ashwagandha. I don't think it works on me. Honestly, I didn't notice any difference whatsoever. So after supplements, the next thing I looked into to increase my testosterone was light viewing behavior. Now this might sound weird, but light viewing is a great way to increase your testosterone levels. And one of the first thing I did was exposing my skin to the sun. Because I knew, and I've known that ever since I was a little kid, that when you expose your skin to the sun, you receive vitamin D. And vitamin D is one of the most important vitamins when it comes to increasing your testosterone levels. But then, doing my own research and listening to podcasts like Andrew Huberman, I started hearing about light viewing. You view that morning sunlight. And that's one of the first ways I tried to optimize my light viewing behavior. Just stepping outside in the morning, looking at the sun for like 10 minutes. And I thought that was enough. Well, it's still a great first step instead of, staying in your room where it's all dark. But then I really went and tried to optimize everything. Keeping track of the sun throughout the day. Looking at that evening sunlight. Getting some blue light blocking glasses 2 hours before sleep. Using a ring light to increase my exposure to lux. Using a red light right before sleep. All these different things to increase my energy and increase my testosterone. Now another thing that I put a lot of effort into was removing estrogenics from my life. Now I mentioned estrogenic when I talked about the glitter in my pre-workout. Well, estrogenics are everywhere. Things like microplastics or like parabens inside your skincare products. These are all things that I tried to remove. And honestly, I think I'm extremely woke and I did an amazing job at removing as much estrogenic as I can from my life. I'm gonna tell you a few things I do and you're probably gonna think I'm fully messed up, but trust me, this shit works. One of the first thing I started with was plastic. Now, everyone agrees that microplastic is most likely very bad for you and you should try to remove your exposure to plastic, and anyways it's good for our planet, so do it, right? But the thing is, I went as far as buying a reverse osmosis water filter which cost me like $500 simply to remove the plastic and other estrogenics inside my water. That was one of the most drastic steps I took. And then I started attacking my body care products, things like my shampoo. Just dropped it. You buzz your hair, you don't need shampoo. And then when your hair grows back out, you realize that if you never use shampoo, you don't need it. Your hair is completely fine. People were doing great before shampoo was invented. Then one step further, deodorant filled with bad chemicals. Things that are absolutely estrogenic, and you're putting it right there, putting aluminum. The first thing I did was actually trying to switch from my normal deodorant with aluminum to like these natural deodorant. But then I realized that even in the natural deodorant, there's stuff I didn't want. So I basically started making my own deodorant, which is 2 ingredients, very simple: coconut oil and baking soda. And that's all I use. I even dropped soap, the soap you use in the shower. I dropped it, didn't change anything. You still clean yourself with water, yeah, of course. You still try to not be dirty, yeah, of course. And when you feel like you smell bad, you simply put on deodorant and you're fine, at least for me. I know my brother smells really fucking bad, so for him, I think you would need to at least make his own soap or buy a natural soap or something. But for me, that worked out well. So these are a few things I did to remove estrogenics from my life. And finally, at least from what I can think at the moment, one of the last thing I looked into to increase my testosterone even further was temperature. Now, temperature can sound weird. You've heard of saunas, of cold bath, but what do they actually do to your testosterone levels? I'm gonna break it down real quick. Cold bath, or at least any type of cold exposure, is going to increase your testosterone, at least for a short period of time, something like a few hours. But if you do it daily, it's almost a permanent testosterone increase. But heat exposure, like saunas, that can actually decrease your testosterone levels if you don't do them properly. Because the reason why your balls are outside of your body is basically because they're trying to cool off. And the most optimal temperature for your balls is much cooler than your inner body temperature. This means that when you go into a sauna where the outside environment is much warmer than inside your body, your balls are basically fucked because they have no way of cooling off. And for now, there's not great research on exactly what it does to testosterone, but we know exactly what it does to sperm quality. And usually you can relate sperm quality to testosterone levels. If you drastically lower sperm quality, if you drastically lower the effectiveness of the Leydig cells, at least for all the time that you're in the sauna, you'll be producing less testosterone. But there's a way to counteract this. I've heard people using ice packs or like cool things that they put on their balls whilst they're in the sauna. Personally, when I take a sauna, I'm not gonna go grab an ice pack. It's kind of weird, and I don't know, it's not efficient for me, especially if you're like in these public saunas. What I do is I get into the sauna, after 5 minutes, you go into the cold shower, you cool your balls, and you get back into it. And I feel like that's a great way to reduce at least the testosterone decrease and even increase your testosterone levels. And lastly, a few other things that I did, knowing that high temperature was reducing my testosterone, was basically trying to cool off my balls as much as possible. When you wear these tight clothing and you're not men spreading, your testosterone will decrease because your balls will get hotter. And this is much more important in saunas because you're not in a sauna all day, but you might be wearing these tight boxers and these tight pants whilst not even men spreading for the whole day, and on top of that you got your laptop on your lap increasing the heat, or even your phone in your pocket increasing the heat. And all of these things are the things that are actually going to decrease your testosterone. So try to wear more loose clothing. Don't ever put your phone in your front pocket or put a computer on your lap. Don't do that. And when you go to bed, one of the things I recently changed about my life is I would go to bed with my boxers, and my balls would just get so hot during the night. So then I told myself, yeah, I'm gonna try to sleep without boxers, basically naked. Problem with me is I get a lot of wet dreams, so it's a hassle. You gotta clean up the whole thing, not just your boxers, But still, it's a trade-off I made, and I'm coping with it. I found that when I sleep without boxers, it just feels so much better on my groins. And that's basically where I am today in my journey of increasing my testosterone. What's next? Testosterone, train. So that's basically all for today's video. If you'd be interested in one-to-one coaching with me, I'm offering free one-to-one coaching. You just click a link. It's like a one-to-one chat. We just have fun. We just hop on a Zoom call or like a Google Meet, and we talk about testosterone. We talk about you. We talk about, the grind, whatever you want to talk about. It's currently free. It used to be paid, but right now it's free because I have a lot of free time right now, and I want to hop on as many calls as possible. So if you'd be interested, it's in the description. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Mwah!